Santa Claus.
He's the leader.
Santa Claus is obviously he's like the Superman.
Batman.
He's like the Superman more. And then you've got the Tooth Fairy. You tie in the Tooth Fairy. You have Easter Bunny. You could have Jack Frost or Frosty the Snowman, and it all ties into this giant universe. And clearly, it's got to be done by Christopher Nolan and really dark. Yes, there's a leprechaun in it too for comedy relief.
Zack Snyder. I think Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder, you think? Okay.
He could make the best Santa outfit.
All right, that might have to happen. Anyway, that's my idea of one. I think it's genius, and I'm pointing it right now.
It really was blowing up on Twitter last
night. It really was. There was like 5 likes.
Yeah, at least.
Hello, this is Between the Streams. This is our weekly movie and entertainment podcast where we talk about everything that's happening in the world of entertainment, and we've got a ton of stuff to talk about right now. We're coming in live on Facebook and YouTube as well, so we want to hear your comments, questions, your ideas. The main question we've kind of proposed was, and we'll get into this, but we have like Marvel and DC and now Call of Duty. It's getting its own cinematic universe. What else should be made into one? So that's kind of the overriding theme we'll be talking about.
Or what shouldn't.
What shouldn't be made. Maybe. That's a good question.
That's probably a better question, but it's too late now. We've already set the question in Facebook.
It's true.
It's as good as written.
It's locked in. Yeah. I'm Greg Nibbler.
I'm Ryan Juanita, and this is our 50th episode.
50 episodes.
50 of these. 50. I had to sit next to you for 50 half an hours.
50 half an hours.
I don't know what that equates to in hours, but it sounds awful.
Clearly, yes. It's absolutely an issue, so I apologize to everyone.
Cheers, good sir.
Cheers. We're having a beer today. I hope where everybody's at, you're having a good time too. So we want to talk to you about all this stuff. We're going to let you know about a bunch of different things happening in movies and television today. We've got Defenders news, new franchises coming out. We're going to do a weekend box office preview. And like I said, we're live on YouTube and Facebook as well, in addition to the audio podcast. So we do want you guys to make sure that let us know what it is that you think should be made into a cinematic universe. We've got Javier tuning in from Paraguay. Hello. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. It's Paraguay? Paraguay. I'm going to say Paraguay. I probably shouldn't have called that out. Jack says, congrats on the 50th episode. Thank you very much, Jack. So let us know what you think. Before we get too far into this cinematic universe, okay, Halo. James says Halo should be made into one.
Probably better than Call of Duty.
Call of Duty seems like an odd one to me.
Yeah, I mean, how many war films are there out there? Like,
there's a lot.
I don't know how this really connects.
I know what should Red Dead Redemption. That should be the new cinematic universe. That's what I'm going for. I
love Red Dead Redemption.
I'm still stuck on that one. I think that should be absolutely be it. All right, so yeah, we've got a lot of people coming in. All right, we're going to get into it here in just a second. Maybe we should do our quick weekend box office preview before we go too far. So stick with us. Have those comments coming in. All right, for the weekend box office.
Yeah.
We've got some real blockbusters this weekend. No, we don't. There's not a lot coming out.
A little bit rough.
There's some interesting ones. We do have, of course, the highly anticipated Smurfs: The Lost Village, which I'm sure is going to break box office records.
Which is weird because the first 2 movies of this. Well, I don't even know if it's connected to that, but there have been 2
the
movies
Smurfs universe?
that are the Smurfs cinematic universe.
Yeah.
But there are 2 movies where there's like live action. I think Neil Patrick Harris is in one and stuff.
Wow. Of course.
Then, and they were in 4K HDR, just breathtaking, really great.
Yeah.
But no, this one's just animated. I don't know. They're trotting all over my childhood as they do, and I'm just not so sure about this.
See, if they tie it into Transformers somehow, or G.I. Joe shows up, then I might be on board.
Cool.
Yeah, with that.
Yeah, they're not going to do that.
Okay, but Smurfs: Lost Village, the Lost Village is out there for you to watch this weekend in the weekend box office preview. A couple other suggestions, just really quick for cinematic universes: StarCraft. That might be an all right one. I could maybe see that. Tomb Raider, and Tomb Raider is getting a redo, so maybe
Tomb Raider's getting a reboot. But we have to remember that cinematic universe for Call of Duty here means Marvel-style cinematic universe, which means multiple phases, spin-offs, Disney-style cinematic universe where there's other stories, and then there's the main canon. They want to make like 30 of these Call of Duties.
That's I don't know.
We were going to get to it later, but maybe we're just into it now. I don't know.
I think let's get through our weekend box office preview.
The next one coming up, Going in Style. It's directed by Zach Braff, which is really weird.
Yeah.
And it's going to be terrible. It's like 42% on
I love how you're
Tomatoes.
building it up.
I mean, I love Morgan Freeman and Michael Caine. It'll be fun to see them together, but I don't know, dude. Like the old man movie, has the old guys making one last stand. It's been done so many times.
Anti-old man movie.
There are only a couple of good ones. One of which being Grumpy Old Men, which is a fantastic one. But most of them are not fantastic. This is about them going to rob a bank because they have nothing left to lose. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I just don't see this being a good movie. But there is one movie that I am excited about this weekend, and it's a weird one, and it goes back into that whole trend of genre bending that we've been talking about that's like really hot right now in Hollywood. It's all about mixing in lots of different genres together, and that is Colossal.
Colossal. Yeah,
Yes.
and now I wasn't completely familiar with this movie.
It came up as more of an indie, but now they're pushing it like live to a bunch of different studios now.
And the cast is pretty good. Anne Hathaway, Jason Sudeikis,
Legion's Dan Stevens.
Legion's Dan Stevens, who that guy's
really a hot actor right now.
He really is.
Physically and overall.
and, all right, well, we know that now.
All right, that got weird.
And Tim Blake Nelson is also in it, too.
Yeah, so the premise behind this, for those who don't know, is there's this huge Godzilla-style monster that shows up out of nowhere. And it turns out that party girl Anne Hathaway, the character she's playing, is a party girl, as they've called it. I just guess that just means drunk.
Okay.
But she is somehow controlling the monster. Like, it's actually like some sort of living, breathing incarnation of her subconscious.
Okay.
And she finds out that she can control its movements. She's actually like puppet style
Connected to
controlling this monster that's currently destroying South Korea.
Okay.
It's such a weird idea.
That
it's
is a strange...
part romance, part comedy, part Godzilla movie. And again, we love these kind of new like genre bending styles. And it's actually getting pretty decent reviews. It's like in the 70s.
All right.
In Rotten Tomatoes, and there's some good reviews. There's some panned reviews too, but we've been told that Anne Hathaway's performance is really good. It's well executed, and of course, it's just an original idea. And we love to see some original ideas in Hollywood these days. So
that is true.
That's our recommendation for the weekend.
Okay, so there's some movies for your weekend box office you can go check out. Colossal, yeah, that sounds like the one I'll see if you're a big Smurfs fan.
Or you might want to wait till VOD on that one. I don't know.
Well, whichever. But that's the weekend box office preview, and we have a lot of other stuff coming up. So we're going to be talking about a bunch of, well, we'll get into some Marvel things right now, but we also have some Star Wars updates and a ton of things coming. So keep your comments coming in. I want to say hi to Manal, who says greetings from Morocco. We've got an international audience tuning in today, which is awesome.
Nice.
And Jack also notes, ouch, Ryan, hating the old guys. So sorry, you're getting called out there.
I don't have a problem with older actors. I'm just saying, like,
now it sounds like you do.
The old guys make good one last time storyline is just played out. That's what I'm saying.
All right. Well,
Michael Caine's one of my favorite actors.
We've lost the
He's amazing in Batman.
70 crowd, so thanks, friend.
Whatever.
All right, let's get into this. We got some exciting news from Marvel this week, at least for me. I am a huge fan of the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think they've done a great job, and in particular the Netflix series, because we have their Defender series, which do tie into the overall Marvel Cinematic Universe. We've had
very loosely or very. Tacitly.
They reference the big green guy.
And the entire Avengers destruction is what sort of paved the way for Daredevil. Really brilliant way that they brought those TV series into it.
To tie it all in. Yeah, and so...
we should note that real quickly, that the DC universe, which also has CW TV shows, they didn't connect them. And so there's all these weird things where they have a different Barry Allen, they have a different Flash.
Yeah.
And that's, again, goes back to Disney and Marvel's just brilliant... plotting, which is why it's so hard to make a good cinematic universe. Is Marvel makes it look easy, but it's not as easy as it looks.
Yeah, they've done just such a brilliant job with it. I mean, and for the Defenders, the Netflix series, we got Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. Even though Iron Fist was kind of panned, I'd still say it's not that bad compared to anything else.
Right.
But now, all four of them finally are going to be teaming up for the Defenders series, and we got our first look at least video look.
If you could call it that.
Kind of,
It's like 5 seconds.
It's like a 5-second trailer or teaser, more of showing all four of them in an elevator together, and it's in black and white. Clearly, they're going up in something called the Midland Circle Financial Building. But you've got...
They're very tired and out of breath from assumingly kicking a lot of bad guy ass, as it were.
I would assume so. And but it's just cool to see all four of them.
It is.
In the same scene together.
And of course, Jessica Jones is the one that angrily shuts down the camera,
which is great.
It's fun.
I mean, it's between Jessica Jones and Luke Cage. I don't know which one's my favorite. It's hard.
I really like Jessica Jones just because she's so like, I don't even want to be here,
right?
And such a badass.
Yeah. Yeah, so there is that. So we got to see at least that first look. We also, they launched a website which I thought was pretty interesting. It's called the nybulletin.com, which is the newspaper in the Defenders or in the universe.
Right.
And the website's it's set up to look like an actual newspaper, and they've got advertisements for different things from the movie,
Colleen
and,
Wing's
interviews.
Dojo.
Yeah, there's a video of advertisement for the Chikara Dojo, which is Colleen Wing's dojo. It's super cheesy, but it's really funny. And I think it's funny anyway. So it's there's different websites. Yeah, the wingway.com. So they're tying in this whole series of websites to go along with it. I think it's pretty smart marketing to go to do it. So
yeah, again, that's why everyone's trying to do what Marvel is doing.
Wants to.
That's this is why, because they sort of, it's synergy, It's a cheesy business term, but they know what they're doing. Every time they do something, it creates a greater whole from the two parts.
Yeah,
it's pretty nice.
They've just been brilliant with it. And we do know Jessica Jones is getting a second season, and we found out some more information about that over this last week as well. Casting that they've made for it. And I'll be honest, I wasn't totally familiar with this actress.
I don't know who
Apparently
this person is.
She's pretty acclaimed. She's been nominated for a couple of Oscars.
2 Oscar nods and a Golden Globe win, so not too bad.
Yeah.
Janet McTeer.
And she was in the movies. I wrote them down because I just haven't seen the movies. I'm sure a lot of people know who she is, and I just don't. Tumbleweeds and Albert Nobbs.
Oh, wait, you haven't seen Albert Nobbs?
Sorry,
the blockbuster hit of last summer?
With Albert Nobbs.
Okay.
But anyway, I guess she's a very good actress, and she's joining it as a pretty, they're saying it's going to be a pretty big role. They said it'll have an enormous impact on the life of Jessica Jones.
Yeah, and it's nice that they're bringing in like really quality actors, because one of the best parts about Jessica Jones is the character development. It's not just the action.
Yeah.
They do a good job with creating some interesting characters that, have some dimensionality.
Right. And going back here to something in the live chat, referencing something on Facebook, Christian asks thoughts on the time code in the Defenders promo revealing the launch date. Seems a little far-fetched. I believe they actually say it on the New York Bulletin site, where it was the launch date's August 18th. That's what I had. Let's see. Yeah, August. Yeah, it does. It's August 18th. So that's the secret is if you go to nybulletin.com, in the fine print at the very bottom, it's really light. It said, August 18th is the release date.
There it is.
So there we go. Mystery
Cracking
solved.
mysteries right over here,
solved.
Mr. Nibbler.
So Jessica Jones, and continuing on with the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Speaking of which, this is the weirdest one we've heard of yet.
Yeah.
I don't know how this one's going to tie in.
Well, they're making a live-action comedy series now, which is going to be their first foray into that, with a series called New Warriors. And I read up on the New Warriors, and it's basically, and I'm reading off here to make sure I get it right. I'm sure a lot of you out there are fans and can probably set me straight if I'm saying something incorrect on this. But the New Warriors is essentially, the series is going to be about 6 young people with powers living and working together. Their premise is, with powers and abilities on the opposite end of the spectrum of the Avengers, the New Warriors want to make a difference in the world, even if the world isn't ready. So they're not quite superheroes, but they have powers, and so I'm guessing it's more targeted towards a teen kind of aspect.
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be like the teen Avengers, basically.
Yeah.
They're not
quite ready for
superheroes
the big
yet, because they probably don't know how to wield their powers. But the big name in this is Squirrel Girl.
Yes.
She has been a cult favorite since she was first revealed.
I am a fan of Squirrel Girl.
There are all these different sub-sites and subreddits out there, like trying to figure out who's going to play Squirrel Girl and all this. But now it is coming to Freeform. So if you've got a whole lot of cable channels, then
Freeform is where it's going to be airing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Squirrel Girl, in case you're not familiar with her.
She has the power of squirrels.
She does. She's got a tail, and she can control squirrels.
Really into peanuts?
Yeah, probably. But no, so she can control squirrels. And Brian's in the chat saying, I loved the New Warriors. I have all those comics. So yeah, it is a popular
It's a really popular sort of like lesser known comic. The more you hear about it, the more you'll hear about fans, and everybody loves Squirrel Girl.
Yeah, everybody loves Squirrel Girl.
But it's nice because this is also a comedy. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a half-hour series, half-hour episodes, so it'll go quick, and it'll be, part teen drama, I guess, but like in a fun way.
Yeah.
It could be interesting.
I think it'll be great.
Yeah.
And they didn't say who the other cast members were yet. They haven't revealed that. The original roster, I guess, was Firestar, Marvel Boy, Namorita, Nova, Speedball, and Night Thrasher. Be honest, I'm not familiar with any of them, but clearly
but sweet names,
a lot of people are. Yeah, they're awesome names.
And my first band was actually Night Thrasher, but we don't need to talk about that.
Okay,
right
I'm
now.
sorry then. Sorry
That's
about
right.
those bad memories. All right. So let's see. When did Squirrel Girl become so popular? Was it a series? I've just seen the name a lot, Squirrel Girl, and then I started falling down the rabbit hole of it. I think just the name Squirrel. You have the squirrel hole. Yes, I don't know about that.
Sure, this is 50 episodes.
Yeah. And Brian says Guardians of the Galaxy was not well known, and that turned to gold.
Absolutely.
Very good point on that. Yep. So we're looking forward to that, to the New Warriors.
And it's supposed to come out in 2018. So we got some time. We'll be finding out much more about this soon enough.
Cool. 30-minute episodes. Yeah, 2018. All right. Moving on to another cinematic universe.
That is the broad theme of the day. We will say that.
It really is.
Because maybe everything is now going to be a cinematic universe.
I don't think you can make anything without having a cinematic
Romantic
universe.
comedies are soon going to be cinematic universes.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's how it's all going to tie together. Well, this one, and I still think a lot of people aren't familiar with the idea that they're going to be doing this.
I think you're right.
They are making a monster franchise.
Universal, which has owned these monster franchises since the beginning of Hollywood.
The age of time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the first
Bela
one...
Lugosi's Dracula.
Yep. Dracula, Frankenstein, Dr. Jekyll, and Mr. Hyde.
Creature from the Black Lagoon, Invisible Man, who is going to be played by Johnny Depp.
Oh, of course it is.
Yeah.
Okay. That's great.
But I'm kind of into this Mummy movie. I never liked the first ones, but the more I see these trailers, I mean, I wouldn't kick them out of bed. Like, there are much worse blockbusters I've seen than this one. This looks pretty cool, man.
Yeah, so
I think it looks fun.
The Mummy reboot, and yes, it's the same, Brendan Fraser franchise, but now rebooted. Only more of a horror aspect. They seem to really be emphasizing the horror side of it, which... I mean, the first one, the first Mummy is one of the first movies I ever walked out of in the theater. I was I just could not stand it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan
I walked out.
That one either, but a lot of people really like that movie. So that's why some people are mad that they're rebooting it. Mm-hmm. And we should tell people that the original one I think was set in the 30s or maybe 40s, but this is going to be set in modern day. And Russell Crowe,
female, a woman this time.
Yeah, and it's Sophia Boutella. And Tom Cruise is sort of the guy stumbling into all this. And then there's Dr. Jekyll, who is being played by Russell Crowe, is sort of going to help guide Tom Cruise, it looks like. He's sort of knows what all this stuff is happening. Meanwhile, he's experimenting with chemicals in the background and becoming a monster, little known to everyone else. But from what we've seen for the trailers, it looks like Dr. Jekyll's character is basically going to sort of help explain what's happening and tell Tom Cruise how bad he screwed up by waking up this mummy, which is apparently destroying the world.
Okay, all right. Yeah, that's a bad mummy.
Yeah.
That's a bad mummy, all right.
She was she was going to be a queen, and then she turns I think they killed her while she... This is all coming from the trailer. They killed her while she was about to reign. They buried her alive, and now she's not happy about that.
Okay, she's upset about that. Well,
you sound very...
I
don't
know.
Excited.
Like I said, walked out.
I think this movie looks cool. It looks nothing like the original.
No, it doesn't. I'll give you credit.
So if you're just against mummies of all forms,
I take a strong anti-mummy stance.
Anti-mummy, yeah.
I am very anti-mummy, and I'm unashamed of it. No,
right.
I think I'll watch it.
It looks fun.
I may not see it in the theater, but I'll watch it. All right, so The Mummy, find out a little bit more about that, and I'm not sure when the release date is. I think coming up this summer, I believe, is when The Mummy's coming out, and I apologize. I'll find that out. Moving on. We've got another cinematic universe to talk about, the overriding theme as we talked about, Star Wars. So Star Wars 8, we found out a little bit more information about Benicio del Toro's character.
Yeah.
So Benicio del Toro is going to be playing a character in Star Wars 8, coming out later this year. And what we found out is that it's most likely, and this is according to rumors, this is on Screen Rant, and then also from Making Star Wars, which is a fan site, is that Del Toro may be playing a figure named DJ, which is probably a code name. It's probably not the actual character's name.
Right.
But DJ is supposed to be the description is the character looks slimy and dirty and has short hair and is rumored to be more of like a con artist. He's not a hero. He's not a villain. He's just kind of a sleazeball, which is kind of a cool character, and also lives on a kind of a casino planet.
A casino planet.
A casino planet.
The Vegas of planets.
Canto Bight. And I'm sure people who are really into the Star Wars canon can explain to me a little bit more. I'm just kind of reporting what the news was. But yeah, that's what we're finding out about him. He's more of a Man in Black kind of character.
Yeah, and also we found out a little bit recently about what they're calling the guerrilla walkers.
Yeah.
That kind of went along with the article that we were reading on Screen Rant, which was talking about these things. They're basically like AT-ATs, AT-ATs or whatever you call them, except they're supposed to be stronger and harder to knock down.
Cool.
So they're going to be pretty badass.
Awesome.
And apparently they look like gorillas as they walk, which
I am
is
excited.
why that's the code name.
They're called gorilla walkers.
Exactly.
I'm excited to see that. I am always a fan of that.
But yeah, as far as Del Toro's character, my guess is he's going to end up being a scoundrel-style good guy in the vein of Han Solo.
Yeah.
That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Just from the way that they explained it,
Or
the way that they
Lando
built him
or-
up. Yeah, it's like somebody that's got a checkered past, but ends up helping out the rebellion or whatever it might
But
be.
make some money on the side or something. Okay.
That's my guess.
He's a good person to play that role.
It should be fun just to see that planet. You know, it's like it's got that same seedy idea of like the bar in the first one.
Yeah.
That's what I'm guessing. It's going to
Yeah.
be a lot of weird aliens and a lot of seedy stuff going on, so that should be fun.
Very cool. So that's what we know about Benicio del Toro. Moving on, kind of bouncing all over the place. This is just things that we found out over this last week. If you can hear the sirens coming through, those are real sirens outside right now. So
This entire show is based on things that we found out
things we found
over
out.
the last week.
It's true. That's pretty much it.
That is the
We try to keep
overall
you updated.
format.
We look for stuff and then tell you about it. And this one I did not know was going to be happening, but Adam McKay, if you know Adam McKay, he's, The Big Short. He teams up with...
The Big Short was his big change. He used to do a lot of Will Ferrell comedies.
And now he's going into another one. There's going to be a Dick Cheney movie, a movie about Dick Cheney. And I don't think it's going to be a comedy. I'm going to guess not.
I'm guessing it will have like
some wacky hijinks,
ludicrous comedic elements based around the absurdity of it, which is what was in The Big Short.
More like a grumpy old men kind of thing, only with Dick Cheney.
Not like that at all.
Not like that? Okay.
No. You have to listen to the words or you won't know what I'm saying. No, you remember how Big Short had sort of like those, like, this is so horrible, but there's comedy
Sorry,
in
my
there.
hair keeps falling in my face. I had to fix that. So.
That's good to know.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I think Adam McKay is going to bring to this, sort of the ludicrous absurdity to it all, because Dick Cheney's story is weird.
It is strange. It is very strange. And it's rumored that Christian Bale may be playing Dick Cheney, which I don't know how that works.
No.
I mean, the magic of makeup, you can do some Hollywood makeup on him, but it's a strange casting. But he's the one that's being mentioned the most is playing Dick Cheney. And then, of course, there's discussion about who should play George W. Bush and everybody else.
Will Ferrell?
Yeah. It is
Adam McKay.
Yeah. Will Ferrell in a serious take on George
That would be really
W. Bush.
weird. I don't think that would work.
I don't know if that would work either. But that's what's happening. So
I'm going to guess Josh Brolin just because he usually does stuff like that.
Well, he already did a movie, W. Yeah,
Right.
where he played George W. So
okay, there you go.
yeah,
That's
maybe
probably why I
maybe
thought
you bring
that.
him back.
Yeah.
Bring
Maybe
him
they
back
should.
for another turn of it.
Well, speaking of bringing back somebody for another turn, in the Tupac movie, Notorious star Jamal Woolard is playing Notorious B.I.G. again.
Yes.
They're bringing him back from that movie.
He's really making a career out of playing
Yeah,
Notorious
he's just
B.I.G..
his whole thing is just playing B.I.G.
That's his cinematic universe.
That is his cinematic universe.
Where else can I get in? When's the Puffy movie? Okay.
And I gotta admit, this Tupac movie is starting to look more interesting.
It's called All Eyes on Me, and I saw a trailer for it.
Third trailer now for it.
Yeah, the guy playing Tupac looks
exactly like him.
It's weird.
Yeah,
it is
that
weird.
may be the only reason he got the role, but that still doesn't mean he doesn't have chops.
Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but damn, he looks like Tupac.
He really does.
It's uncanny. So the movie, it is what it sounds like. It's a movie about Tupac, about his life. Kind of, I think, in the vein of Notorious, where Jamal Woolard played Notorious B.I.G.
Yeah, and this should be interesting because the way that they set this latest trailer up, it starts out with his dad being in a Black Panther meeting, it looks like, and he's there. Apparently his dad brought him along, and it sort of is painting him like sort of anti-hero of the black movement. There seems to be like sort of a Black Lives Matter theme sort of coming in there, which is going to be interesting because, as we all know, he has done some checkered things in his past. He was put in prison for sexual assault.
Yeah.
So they're going to be walking some fine lines. I mean, it looks like they're going to sort of paint him honestly, but also give him sort of like some hero status in this movie. So it should be interesting to see how people react to that. I mean, no question he's one of the greatest rappers of all time. So it's a very interesting, fascinating story. And I think we're all interested to see how it plays out. I mean, the NWA movie was amazing.
Yeah,
we all liked that.
Great.
So
I liked Notorious as well. I thought it was a good movie.
I actually haven't seen Notorious, but after Straight Outta Compton, I grew up on that stuff. Along with rock, the rock of the 90s, the hip hop of the 90s was just as consequential. It was a big time for hip hop.
I would say Notorious, the movie, it's not quite as good as Straight Outta Compton, but it's still a good movie.
But it's worth watching.
Solid. Oh yeah.
Well, and B.I.G. is actually my favorite hip hop star ever.
Oh, then you got to watch it.
Yeah. So I probably should.
Yeah, you'll need to watch it.
Anyway, I'm looking forward to the Tupac movie, and the more we see about it, the more interesting it looks to me.
Yeah. So there we go. So All Eyes on Me. That will be coming out later on. Okay, so we've got because I forgot to write down
the Mummy is coming out June 9th, by the way.
The June 9th. Thank you. We're glad
and I think All Eyes on Me is coming out in a couple of months.
Couple of months. Yeah. There we go. Giving you all the news. Some upsetting news from this week. Well, not upsetting. I mean, just one of those. Somebody passed away this week. Rickles.
Guy lived a good life.
He really did. He's 90 years old, so it's kind of hard to say, okay.
You're on borrowed time.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid life. Don Rickles passing away.
And I think a lot of people may not know who he is. Younger people. I think people know maybe who he is a little bit, but they may not realize how integral he was to sort of the foundation of modern comedy.
Yeah.
He made a complete career, as a lot of people know, but just to recap, he made almost an entire career out of making fun of people.
Yeah,
he was the insult comic, and it was the greatest treat in the world to be insulted by him. Everyone wanted to be insulted by him. He insulted presidents.
Yeah.
He sort of got his start doing this in 1957 by insulting Frank Sinatra,
which
was not done in those times.
No, Frank Sinatra was not a guy that
tied to mafia guys. He took himself very seriously. He was the chairman of the board of the Rat Pack. Like, you didn't mess with Frank Sinatra, and instead of getting irate and upset like most people thought he would have, he loved it. He embraced it. He thought it was hilarious. And then this incredible career came off. And if you've ever seen Don Rickles just off the top of his head, he is one of the most naturally witty people that has ever lived. Yeah. And he was just an amazing guy, so we wanted to give a tribute to him. He worked up to his last days. In fact, there's a series coming out. I think it's called Dinner with Don. And all 10 episodes were filmed before he passed on.
Oh, wow.
Like right before he passed on. And there's scenes of him. You can watch trailers of him talking with famous comedians, and they're all just like so excited to be there.
Oh, like that's really cool.
Amy Poehler and I don't think Tina Fey was in there, but a few other like huge comedians sitting down with him. Paul Rudd is there.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so
okay, I am excited to see that.
Yeah, so a sad day to see him pass, but the Merchant of Venom and Mr. Warmth, as he was called, was he lived a pretty good life. So we should all be so lucky.
Shout out to Don Rickles.
Yep.
All right. Well, moving on to next topic here, and this is part of the overriding theme that we're talking about, kind of underlying theme anyway, of cinematic universes. And this is one I'm not quite sure how it's going to work, but everybody's doing them now. And it's for Call of Duty. Call of Duty, yes, the video game, Call of Duty. And Activision wants a string of Call of Duty movies to have a Marvel.
It's really hard to say.
String of Call of Duty movies.
You said duty.
to have a Marvel Cinematic Universe vibe. So everybody wants to do these.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening. Nathan, just popping into the chat right now, said Halo. A lot of people seem to be saying Halo, also Gears of War.
Well, I think one of the things people like so much about Halo is its storyline.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, of course the gameplay, but
this is
Call
interesting. Of Duty. Yeah, how is this going to work?
So there's interesting things about this. So first of all, Activision's co-president, Nick Van Dyke, used to work for Disney on the Marvel and Lucasfilm stuff.
Okay, so has some
he
experience.
Has some serious background in that. The problem being, of course, that first of all Call of Duty stuff is based on real events, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure how you tell like stories, like historical stories.
I guess you create characters within the universe
that tie together. They're going to be loosely based on these games. They're not going to follow the game structure completely. So basically what you're saying is we're just going to make war movies with the name Call of Duty that have tie-ins to historical events, I guess.
And then like a same character shows up in different things. I don't know.
And of course the other problem with this, as everyone knows, is virtually every game movie ever made is terrible. So that's a problem too.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, yeah. And which brings, I mean, if they're doing this with Call of Duty, again, our question is, what do you think should get a cinematic franchise? I made my pitch for holiday movies. I still think a dark version of Santa Claus.
You were joking about that, but the more we talk about it, the more real it seems.
Exactly.
And the Emoji movie's coming out, and that seemed like a joke.
Nope.
I think you need to pitch this.
Dark origin story of Santa Claus before he was Jolly St. Nick. Mix in the Tooth Fairy.
Turns out he was never really
Easter
jolly.
Bunny.
Like, he's been saving humanity from an unknown evil.
Right. Yes.
And while he was traveling around and putting presents in people's houses, he was actually putting charms on them so that this demonic
to ward off
presence wouldn't show
the
up.
evil of Krampus, or perhaps
be
Frosty the Snowman. They were adversaries at one point.
This is so stupid.
It's a whole world that I've created here. So that's my pitch.
Getting back to the Call of Duty thing, this has been basically talked about since 2015. So we'll see how, we'll see if this actually happens. But they want to make the first movie a big tentpole, spin-off movies, all of that. So
okay.
See how that goes.
All right. A few other things here to get through before the end of the show here. We've got some different ways to watch series now. Of course, there's a million different streaming sites. Instagram is now going to have a series with DJ Khaled. So
I don't know why these social media sites get into the video streaming. I just don't. At least not with scripted series, or I don't know.
Yeah, this one is going to be on We Buy Gold's Instagram Stories feed.
I don't even know what that means. Those words made no sense in a line to me.
And I'll explain it. So it's going to be called, I know exactly what you mean. The Bless Up with DJ Khaled, and it's on We Buy Gold's site. They're a digital media company. And
wait, We Buy Gold is that 800 number that you call in and you give them your jewelry and they give you a crappy price on it?
We Buy Gold.
That's who We Buy Gold is.
Well, now now what you can do is you can enter for a chance to win a hangout session with Khaled, where you send direct messages to We Buy Gold's Instagram account explaining a hardship that they are having trouble surmounting, and then the series is DJ Khaled coming and helping you out, apparently. So that's what's going to be happening with that.
That's going to be terrible.
There is that.
Yeah.
Another new series, new website, new streaming service that's come out that actually I subscribed to it today. It's called
because it's free for the first 30 days.
It's free for the first 30 days. It's Curiosity Stream. And so I got targeted this on my Facebook feed. Clearly, I watch too many documentaries or nerdy things. But they targeted me and it worked. So Facebook marketing does work. It's called curiositystream.com. You can go there. And it's a new streaming service for documentaries, history, science, technology, pretty much any kind of documentary or series that has ever gone out is on this thing.
That's pretty cool.
And so there's up to 1,500 different titles that are available. They make it really easy to search for it. Like if I want deep ocean series, like, okay, here's 22 series about the deep ocean that you can look at. So basically it's like Discovery Channel and History Channel before they started sucking.
Right. And I like that it's searchable and easy to find on demand. That's great. My problem with this is an overlying problem, not necessarily with this service, but what we've talked about multiple times on the show, which is the fragmentation of the streaming marketplace, where you try to stop spending all this money on your fat cable bill, and so you're like, just want to buy these, as we've been calling them for years, a la carte streaming options so that you can just pick and choose what you want. But what happens is it gets so fragmented that you have to subscribe to all these different services. You've got Netflix and Hulu and HBO and Showtime, and we'll talk about Showtime in a second because they've got a new thing happening, and all these other services. And at the end of it all, it's like, okay, now I'm spending $100 on streaming services. I'm right where I started. Of course, there are benefits. You get it all on demand. You can pick and choose what you want. You can cancel anytime. There's no worrying about, I feel like I'm selling this on TV. There's no worrying about the cable, the demon cable people. But it's tough, man, when there's so many streaming services out there.
Well, and there's a lot, and we've got some other ones to tell you about, too. So that one, $2.99 a month for the basic, and the first month is free. I'd say give it a shot for the first month.
Why not? Check it out.
The
problem is you're probably going to forget to cancel it, and it'll just go on your check card.
Right. YouTube. Also now launching live programming, which we are live streaming right here, right now. But this is like cable, live TV streaming.
So YouTube TV is doing what Sling TV did in 2015, and multiple people have copied. There's DirecTV Now, which is DirecTV's version, of course. And there is also PlayStation View, which is another version. Yeah. Again, this is sort of a new solution to an old problem that kind of brings up the same issues. Yeah. The cool thing about YouTube TV is it's $35 a month. That's pretty cheap. You get about 45 channels with it. You can cancel anytime. I think they give you a free 30-day trial. I think they even give you a Google Chromecast, at least for the first few weeks. Yeah. It's only in select markets right now. All that sounds pretty good, but then when you realize that you still have to pay for your internet, which is about $40 to $50 a month. Right. This is $35, and then you've got Netflix on top of that. You're already back at $100. Yeah.
No thanks.
We
I'll
never
pass.
promised that cord cutting was going to save you money in our articles.
Yeah.
It's just going to give you more choice, but you have to be careful with all these different services because sometimes it might just be easier to stick with cable.
Well, there's your other option.
Anyway, it is here,
YouTube.
and it's another one of the many fighting streaming services channels. So, and we have a lot of articles on it if you want to find out more about it.
Definitely, yeah, digitaltrends.com. We've got just a couple of minutes left here, so I want to get through a couple of these other things. Another streaming service, I'll just mention this, Amazon, now getting part of the NFL Thursday night package, so you'll be able to stream.
This is kind of huge.
Last year it was on Twitter, which was kind of a weird format.
Exactly.
Twitter lost out to Amazon, and so Amazon is now going to be the partner this year. So if you have an Amazon Prime service, Prime subscription, you'll be able to stream, 10 Thursday night NFL football games.
Yeah, you won't get all of them, I don't think.
Yeah, you'll get 10 of them.
And that's what it was with Twitter last year. Twitter paid a ridiculously low $10 million.
Yeah.
I think Amazon is paying $50 million, so they upped the price this year.
Yeah.
Anyone who knows like DirecTV, which you can get every single game every single Sunday, depending on a few blackout situations, they pay like billions of dollars for that. So this is interesting. Of course, Amazon is always trying to best Netflix at its own game, so this should be an interesting get for them.
We'll see what happens with it. So Amazon, if you're an NFL fan, that's where you'll get your Thursday night football. Showtime doing something, also another a la carte service that you can get.
Yep.
Although this is kind of cool. So you wrote this one there.
Yeah, I mean, Showtime is going offline. So if you're a subscriber to Showtime, which is what they call their streaming app, which is extremely confusing.
Yeah.
But if you don't have cable and you just want to subscribe to Showtime, it's called Showtime. I hate that. It's so hard to write about. It's so hard to talk about. But basically, if you're subscribed to that or through the app, if you're authenticating through your cable subscription, you can watch anything in Showtime's library offline.
Which
you can download it
series.
to your mobile device. It's only on mobile devices right now, but you can watch anything. They've got a lot of pretty decent series now: Billions, Homeland, Ray Donovan, Californication, Masters of Sex, Weeds, just to name a few, and all their movies that are on the service. At the time, will be downloadable.
So that's pretty cool.
Similar to a recent move that Netflix made, except that Showtime's doing all of it.
All right.
So
Well, there we go. Finally, I want to talk about. I think we'll save talking about Preacher for next week. I'll bring that up next week. I wanted to skip to
I
the
really need to watch
cracks.
Preacher too because it keeps looking cooler and cooler.
It's great.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that next week. But we do a segment called Between the Cracks where we bring up like a movie or a series that maybe didn't get enough attention or maybe you didn't know about or you heard about but you haven't watched and try to let you know about it. And I just recently finally watched this, and it's on Netflix. It's called The Battered Bastards of Baseball. And it's a documentary, and it's about a team from Portland, Oregon, where we're actually broadcasting from, a baseball team that existed in the 70s. And it only existed for a few seasons. And this it was founded by Bing Russell, who was Kurt Russell's father. Like Kurt Russell, the actor, it's his father, Bing Russell. And so Bing Russell was the basic story is he was this Hollywood actor who decided he wanted to quit that and he wanted to get into baseball. And Portland...
Sort of like Michael Jordan?
Not really. He didn't want to play. He just wanted to own a team.
Yeah.
And so Portland at the time was the only non-Major League Baseball owned baseball team in the United States because MLB kind of swooped in and bought up all the small teams.
It's like one of the only ones that was independent.
It was the only one.
Oh, okay.
There was no other independent teams.
Wow.
And so he swooped into Portland and bought this team and started playing some of the other Major League teams, but he hired all of these misfits, like people that no other baseball team wanted. They either had some trouble with the law.
Wait. I've seen this movie. It's called Major League.
Kind of. This could be an inspiration for Major League. I mean, but it really happened, and it's a really fascinating documentary. Looking at it, just all these misfits this guy gathered together, and then of course they played really well, and Major League Baseball did not like that, and they go through the whole history of the team, and just how many fans they drew. They outdrew any other team, and from AAA on down. And
I'm frankly kind of bummed because Portland no longer has a minor league baseball team. We've got a very good soccer team, and I'm excited for all those people who are into soccer. I myself do not care for it.
Yeah.
We won a championship last year, and that's great.
Yeah.
but I'd be happier if we had a baseball team.
Well, you should watch this.
I'm going to have to watch this.
It's about the Portland Mavericks. Highly worth watching. It's really, really a fun documentary to watch, so I would check that out. It's on Netflix. All right. I think we're out of time. So, this has been our 50th episode.
Yeah, we're going to have a cinematic universe coming for Between the Streams, too.
We will.
I don't want to talk about it too much, but
there are Easter eggs
so many podcasts
throughout every episode that tie back to another episode,
it's true.
And it's your job to figure those out.
It's true. You got to listen to them all.
Yeah. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning into the show. And I want to emphasize, we have an audio version of this as well, with all of these back episodes that you can download and subscribe to. So just type in Digital Trends on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, and you'll pull up Between the Streams as one of the podcast universe that we have. Audio
That's
universe.
True. Digital Trends does have
podcast.
podcast, cinematic universe.
Yeah. So
well, it's not cinematic.
Subscribe to those. That would be great. It's Between the Streams. You can see a bunch of episodes of this. And again, thank you everybody for tuning in every week. This is a lot of fun. We go live every Friday at 2 p.m. on YouTube and Facebook, so you can join in the conversation and let us know if you've got it between the cracks or something you think we should look up. Send us an email, podcast@digitaltrends.com, or comment on one of the articles, or maybe you disagree. I still say the holiday cinematic universe is going to be a thing. The more I say it, the more it's going to happen.
It's going to be huge.
And that's just how that is. So I'm #restricted, trademarked right there. All right.
Yeah, anyway. You better hold on to that.
Yeah, I'm holding on to that. Holiday cinematic universe. All right. I think that's about it. Okay, thanks so much, everybody. We'll be back next week with another episode.